Hey everybody, welcome to Niagara and Noah TV. I'm Sam Torcasio here with my friend Terry Kanouse.
Hi, Sam.
Hey Terry, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
It's been a while since we've done something together.
We've had to bunker down, haven't we?
Yeah, just a little bit's happened in the past year. So, yes. Also want to say we have not only Eric, but we have Eric and his wife Jaime Pieszala in the booth. Guys, thank you for running the sound and the audio and the camera and helping us to make this happen. So, backtracking just a little bit, you and I did some videos together back in, I think the last one we did was in 2018, Terry.
Yes.
Because we didn't do any during the pandemic year.
We did it about a year ago or so. And,
right.
We have them on our website, too.
We have them on our website, and we're going to talk about that and plug that.
Yeah.
So we've been wanting to continue that, and in the meantime, we're changing the format. We're changing everything. We're upgrading a little bit in the technology world. And so we've got some good material to cover today, but before we get to that, I just want to say you've been through, pandemic aside, you've been through quite a few things in the last year. So update everybody where you're at in your personal life before we get into the ministry.
Right now, what I just came through some surgery and I'm recovering from back surgery at this point, but it seems to be going well. And I've put a little damper on our field trips to Niagara Falls from that, but we're doing the creation seminars instead. And then we're going to be going back to the field trips to Niagara Falls and talk about how Niagara Falls relates to the biblical flood.
So right back at it. Back at it. Gotta love it. Now, when is your next, we have it in our church bulletin, your next seminar is coming up.
May 22nd.
May 22nd is going to be at Forest View at 10 a.m., right?
Yep, Forest View Church
Want to
of
give
God.
a little preview for that before we get into our content today?
We're going to talk about some of the things that we're talking about here. My first talk will be on some of the contents of what we're talking about right here with the 5 problems of biological evolution.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But Niagara and Noah TV, what is that? Well, this is Terry has a creation ministry, the Creator's Way Incorporated, and a subcomponent of that is Niagara Falls and Noah's flood. You do a lot of information regarding the flood of Noah's day in the Bible, Genesis chapter 6 to Genesis 9, and you get into that. So it's a creation ministry, but you have a lot of focus on the flood, particularly its relation to
Niagara Falls,
where we are right here. And look, there's a lot of great creation ministries out there. We're for Answers in Genesis, creation.com we support, and they do good stuff. But we have an opportunity here to focus on one of the wonders of the world and how it relates to creation, the flood, and all that. So that's what we're doing. And you've been, how long have you been at this?
I have been at this about 25 years, as the Lord has pulled me out of a full-time pastorate, and He put me here, amazingly, in a guard shack and doing secular tour guiding at Niagara Falls. And then I start putting things together, and I said, there's something we need to say here. And what I do is I'm applying what people like Answers in Genesis and the Institute for Creation Research say about the flood, and I'm applying it right here, and it fits very, very well as well. This is known as one of the geological evolutionary capital of the world, as people are being deceived by that, and we want to change that.
Absolutely.
And allow people to hear the other side of that story, how the flood actually, or how Niagara Falls relates to the biblical flood.
Absolutely. Now, I want to let people know before we get into what you have for us today that you have a website. And is the website up and running?
It is off and on up and running, but
it's still being worked on. Now,
do that.
I want to make sure I got the website right. Do you have it offhand? I think it's okay.
We'll put it on and later.
I think it's creatorsway.org.
Yes.
Okay, so I have it up there.
Yep.
So it's still being worked on, but in the meantime, you can find him on Facebook.
Yep.
And you can also look him up on YouTube. Look up Niagara Falls and Noah's flood on YouTube. Just type that in the search engine. Brother Terry's ministry is going to come up. And we've already done a couple a couple episodes of what we called the Creation Download. We just changed the name, but we've already done a couple episodes on different things.
Yes.
And we also have the video on there, the tour for the promo for your tour of Niagara Falls. So what we're doing with Niagara and Noah TV is we're picking things up, we're ramping things up, we've got new technology, so they'll be able to find this on your YouTube channel, Niagara Falls and Noah's Flood, and they'll also be able to find it on our church app, the NFBC channel. So Terry goes to Forest View Church of God. I go to Niagara Frontier Bible Church. Our churches are very close, like-minded. We work together on a lot of things. But NFBC has an app called the NFBC channel. You can get it on Google. You can get it on iPhone. You can get it on Roku. You can get it on Apple TV. And we've got a lot of different things there, sermons and different programs we're working on. And one of we're partnering with Terry to bring you Niagara and Noah TV. So you'll also be able to find it on the NFBC channel app in addition to the Niagara Falls and Noah's Flood YouTube channel. So without anything further, let's get into it. What do you got for us today?
Well, right now, let's review what we did previously, just briefly. We started out with the 5 problems of biological evolution, and we want to complete that today. We did really 3.5 of those. We did, first of all, accidental life. Lightning hit a pond and out popped the first life. And that's as silly as a space shuttle being blown together by a tornado. All that DNA lining up the right way. Then we looked at accidental environment. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see 2 suns out there. I only see 1 sun. So
we're not on Tatooine?
No, we're not. And we're not burning up either. So
we're not on Tatooine, Eric.
Yes.
He's a Trekkie anyway.
Yeah. But then again, we just happen to be the right distance from the sun.
By the way, wouldn't Tatooine burn?
Oh.
I mean, it's a fictional world. Forget it.
Yes,
yeah.
but Psalm 19 sort of talks about that somewhat with talking about the sun there in its course, and so we want to. So that's there's a lot of things in the environment that just happen to be right, so that life can be sustained here. And is that an accident? No, that's not. That's
preach it, preacher.
That's a deliberate act of God to put together literally a spaceship Earth like that. Then there's a second law of thermodynamics. It's a basic law. Even Einstein says it can't be broken, and that is that things run down unless intelligent life winds it up. And like we have potholes out on the road, and potholes don't make themselves over or fix themselves. You need intelligent life to do that. Same with life here. To try to say that life is by accident, you have to go through thousands and thousands and thousands of accidents to get from non-life all the way up through monkeys to man.
Come on now.
Yeah. So I don't want to monkey around too much with this, but that's the way it is.
I won't go ape over it.
Okay, very good, because we're going to go ape in a minute here. You'll see what I'm saying in a minute. And then there's there's the fossil record. Now, we said some things about the fossil record. Mostly sea fossils, high mountains, and billions of them. And what it looks like is a big worldwide flood. Now, the interesting thing with the biology of this is it is very consistent with the Lord creating things according to their kinds, like what we see in Genesis 1 and 2. And
I don't mean to interrupt your flow, but I think the seashells on the top of the mountains is really an enigma for the world.
Yeah, it is.
Like, that's really, if the flood happened, it makes perfect sense. And there's a lot of things like that with the biblical account.
And you go to Mount Everest, and you see sea lilies up on Mount Everest.
I mean...
And that's very silly to say that there wasn't a flood. The burden of proof should be on them, not on us to prove otherwise.
Yeah.
And for a long time it was.
And you know what, maybe we'll get into this in a future episode, but not only do they want to deny the first flood, I have a theory this whole climate change thing is about a coming flood.
No.
They're going to say the one thing that God said won't happen again will happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
right.
maybe for another.
They're saying that
denying what did happen, and
shorelines will.
Yeah.
So, but let me give you an idea of this. I have a quote from 2 experts.
Put that on the screen
there.
there.
That tell us that this is it says it's consistent with the being according to their kinds. Here is one of the top 10 evolutionists ever, G.G. Simpson, and he says this: in spite of these examples, it remains true. Every paleontologist knows that most new species, genera, and families, and nearly all above the level of families, appear in the record suddenly and are not led up to by known, gradual, completely continuous transitional sequences. What he's saying is essentially what we're saying, and that is that there's nothing above family, and that God created them according to their kinds, and there could be development from kinds, sure, but nothing beyond that. And that's what we see in the fossil record. And let me give you one more quote from another expert. This guy's Dr. Rupp, and but one of the ironies of the evolution-creation debate is that the creationists have accepted the mistaken notion that the fossil record shows a detailed and orderly progression, and then they have gone to great lengths to accommodate this, quote, fact, unquote, in their flood geology. They're telling us that that we've bought the bait, where we're saying and we're agreeing with them on something that really is just propaganda. The Lord created them according to their kinds, and the fossil record, when you get past the propaganda, really bears that out. So that's number 4. Number 5 is the one we want to spend most of our time on. Speaking of monkeying around, I want to call this monkey business. It's
let's get to some monkey business.
Like we said, we're going ape over some of this stuff. So, but the gap between monkey and man, we want to specifically talk about. There's no sustainable, long-term missing link between monkey and man. It's either all been made. It's all been either fakes, frauds, or fabrications. And so there's no...
What about Mrs. Lucy? Oh, you'll get to that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Mrs. Lucy is a guy.
Oh. Okay, we ain't woke here, folks, just so you know. So I don't know where he's going with this.
Yes.
Okay.
They finally found out that Lucy was a guy.
Okay.
I have 3 examples. She's the last...
Is she running for governor? Oh, wait, no, that's something else. Okay.
Well, that's
I'm going to get you in trouble here. Let's just... All right.
Yes, but 3 examples. First example is... that I want to mention is the Nebraska man. This was at the Scopes trial, and they pulled a tooth out of the ground, and they built a whole monkey skeleton out of it, and they said it was the missing link between monkey and man. Next one. There, as we go. There we go.
Okay.
It was the missing link between monkey and man, and well, eventually they found out that it was a tooth of an extinct pig instead. So it really was an embarrassment for them when they uncovered that as well.
So they really got it wrong, and I'm a little bit naive here, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
The truth is we've descended from pigs, not...
Well, maybe.
Okay, I'll keep listening. I get so easily confused.
Our sin nature maybe has.
Okay,
but,
all right.
That might be the right way to say it.
I'll let him keep going. I'll shut up.
Next one. No, that was good. That was good observation right there.
That's why you dressed up as a pig at that event a couple years ago.
Yes.
I was wondering what he was doing.
When I talk to kids about evolution, I sometimes bring in the Nebraska man to speak to them, a pig, and actually me, yes. And next one is the Piltdown man. This was an actual hoax that was deliberately made as a hoax, and it has gone for 70 years. A skull cap and jaw, that's what they had of it, just a little filing down, and a little food coloring, and for 70 years, it was considered to be the missing link between monkey and man before they found out that it was a hoax. And so that's it. Now
so he wasn't my great grandpa.
I don't think so.
Or grandma either, right?
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
And the one we have now up on the screen, this is Lucy here that we have.
Oh, is that Miss Lucy? Okay,
That's
yes.
Lucy right there, yes.
Or Mr. Lucy.
Mr. Yes,
oh,
yes.
Yeah. Please explain this because I'm really getting confused. Okay?
Yes. And evolution does tend to do that if you aren't watching out for it. It confuses people about the truth. But Lucy, not all experts agree that she was walking upright. In fact, there's very good evidence that she doesn't, and a number of scientists are now saying she doesn't. Hips are not made for upright walking. Until, of course, PBS decided that they'd put somebody on who had an electric saw and cut the pieces of her hips to fit together as a upright walker.
Oh, come on, PBS would do that?
Yeah,
Come
they
on
did.
now.
They did it right on TV too, and it got to be silly. By the way, good thing to look at for that is Answers in Genesis has a good video on that with Dr. Morton on it, explaining that as well. So if you want to look at that as well, the whole thing sounds with Lucy like it's more Piltdown Man type thing. That they're pushing because they don't really have the evidence. They're pushing for something other than the truth at this point because they just don't have it. They may have thought it originally they did, but they really don't have it. And so that being that, the three examples that we've mentioned here, let me mention the basic cycle of how this goes with missing links. First of all,
We got more monkey business?
Oh, it's monkey business. The monkey business cycle is what I call it.
Just begun.
When we put on.
Oh, we got the next
next
slide?
slide there
All right, yes, sir.
will help us.
Yes, the monkey business cycle.
Yes, the monkey business cycle here. And first of all, there's a big discovery. And the scientists are hailed as heroes. And, hey, everybody can, the Bible's not true anymore. Everybody can go sin the way they want to and be without God and all that.
That's
We
why they
just
do that.
showed that God doesn't exist and all that. So, ironically, of course, I'm telling you. Second step, big PR, magazines, journals, schools, TV, news, everyone's informed, and guess what? They make big money at it too. And so that's where it goes next. Then a couple months, maybe a couple years later, that whole missing link thing is found to be an error. Now, do they tell anybody about it? Step 4, no PR, nobody's being informed of it. It's just sort of pushed under the rug. And step 5, there's only a few creation people to really tell people about the error with that.
Let me insert something real quick.
Yes.
Isn't it interesting how even in the current news cycle with current events, the news never corrects things when they're proven wrong? It's like there's a liar running this world, the prince, the power of the air.
Yes,
That's
we know that. And
Yeah.
another nice thing we could venture out on with our TV show here is talking about Christ's return.
Absolutely.
Things are happening just the way the Bible says.
But I think even a lot of unbelievers are open to the deception with the news media and stuff like that. It's opening people up to, okay, who's running this show right now? So
Yep.
keep going.
Yeah, and then step 6, the public is totally misinformed on this whole thing. And then all of a sudden they discover a new missing link, and the cycle goes all over
It
again.
repeats itself.
And so people are totally misinformed. They think that evolution is true, or there's at least a sense out there that it is, and when it really isn't, and it's just a lot of propaganda going on out there.
We keep going ape over it.
Yes. And so what we have is, as we review this, we have five basic missing links: accidental life, accidental environment, second law of thermodynamics, fossil record shows kinds, and no sustainable link between monkey and man. And that's pretty much what we wanted to do as we monkey around here today, as we did. So
Right.
it's interesting that as one scientist mentioned, that when you if your theory is good as discoveries are made, it will verify your theory. And here we see that I have 5 problems of evolution that verify our belief that God created the heavens and the earth here, and I have 3 more that we could even go through that were very simple ones as well. It's easy to explain stuff too.
Well, that's what we're giving them for this episode. What do we plan on doing on the next one? We're going to try to pump these out every so often, folks.
Yeah, we want to do flood evidence at some point.
Oh,
the other
nice.
thing that we want to do, because we believe that the gospel is preeminent here, is we probably want to go and talk about how we've come to faith in Jesus Christ, and how other people can come to faith in Jesus Christ, which is the main focus of what we do and of the Bible, with the flood evidence as well as the creation evidence.
Right, and in future episodes, we'll hit up Niagara Falls, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and how
Yes.
that's related to the flood. But You're right. Jesus Christ is King. He is Lord. And this kind of stuff, this evolutionary stuff, missing links and all this stuff has been used by, just real briefly, when Darwin came up with this theory of evolution, that changed everything. And much of the church just accepted it. But now, years later, so many years later, a lot of holes are being poked in it by creation scientists and even within the community. You know, it's like kind of hush-hush, you can't speak out. But the truth is, God created this world. The Bible says that. And we believe that by faith, but really there is nothing in the world, there is no evidence that is going to refute that. So I believe it by faith. You know, people get tripped up by evidence, but it's really not evidence because, as you just said, these missing links were just hoaxes, were just tricks, were just traps of the enemy. And we know ultimately something like that doesn't keep someone from faith in Christ. If the person wants to repent of their sin, God's going to make them a new creation, and they're going to see through these lies. But a lot of it is, it's convenient to believe sometimes there's no God, so we could just continue in our sin.
And that's if you want an excuse to not follow God, not to follow Jesus Christ, the world's going to make it for you.
Absolutely. And we can see in our society today, in the removing of God and the moving away from Christian principles, we can see what kind of chaos that's producing. You know, all this stuff out there, Terry, in the streets regarding all the tensions regarding race and prejudice, if we could just bring the biblical view to bear on that everyone has value because everyone is made in the image of God, black, white, Jew, Gentile, that would solve the issue, and that Jesus Christ died for all peoples. Yeah. But when we feed into this debate, we're assuming an evolutionary framework where there's quote unquote different races. We're all one race biblically. So this all is very, very, very practical. So I'm looking forward to doing more of these.
I am too.
And Eric and Jamie, thank you. If you want to bring that music up as we start to close out. So let's tell them again, we can look for you on YouTube at Niagara Falls and Noah's Flood, and we can also look on the NFBC channel for future episodes of, what are we calling this? Niagara and Noah TV.
Niagara and Noah TV, yes.
All right, this is Sam and Terry signing out. We will see you on the next episode.